Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today I've got a very interesting review for you from a company I've not seen before. I've had a couple recently, loaned to the channel very kindly by Neil from Creative Time Wasting, and it's the IBG models. He also loaned me a Bandai recently. I've never seen either manufacturer's product. Haven't lived really, but I'm going to put that right today. Now it's the black box 2-in-1. So it's 1/72nd scale, Great Britain 1940, Battle of Britain Spitfires, the Mark I and the Mark II Supermarine Spitfire. Now, well timed because they just had the Battle of Britain 85th anniversary. Battle of Britain Day was just last week as I film this. Unfortunately, that had a bit of a bittersweet pill for me because that was the very day, the 15th of September, was the very day I was supposed to be flying in a Spitfire in the skies over the Lake District, and because of the horrible stormy weather it all got cancelled. So hopefully we'll be doing that again later next month. But in the meantime, let's have a look at this interesting kit. Now, Neil said to me when he suggested he loaned me this kit, he said, I'd be interested to hear what you think of it. Now, I've got no preconceptions about this manufacturer whatsoever, so I've got a blank sheet of paper in my mind. The only thing that does worry me a bit was the price, and he said it's £55 this set for two 72nd scale kits. Seems a bit pricey for a 2-in-1 box, but anyway, we will see. So, it is their product 72584. I'm going to zoom you in so you can have a good look at this. I do like a Spit, I've got to say now. You know, do we need more Spitfires? No, we don't. But if you need something you never get Airfix to believe you on. We've certainly got several different options here. Made in Poland. Interesting to see a new manufacturer. So we've got, I think there's actually five different schemes. Now EBR, DWW, I think pretty sure that's the Mark I. KLB, well that's Aldea's aircraft. That was the one that was featured on the Airfix 24 scale Spitfire, of course, for years. So these are Mark Is, these are Mark IIs, I think. Pretty certainly. Yes. And we've also got different spinners on them. I can see Rotal spinners and I can see de Havilland spinners. And this one is one of the... It's definitely a de Havilland spinner, I think. We'll see. Let's have a look in the box. Zoom you back and we'll see what we've got here. Because this is going to be something new. I've heard about IBG and people seem fairly enthusiastic about them. But I've also heard one or two people mention that they've built one or two of their kits and they don't always go together as well as they would like. They're not as good as like ICM or something like that, or Armour. Right, and he wants me to open all the bags so you're going to see everything properly. Oh my goodness, look at all these clear parts. Oh my lord, all different variants of canopies. Gosh, there's a lot of it. Oh, there's a lot of plastic in here. Maybe £55 is not so excessive. Ouch. I mean, that's the same price as an Airfix Jaguar, isn't it? 48 scale. More to the point though, we're talking about value kits. Isn't that the same sort of money as is it the Henschel, the twin Henschel set that's coming from Tacom? Which is really cheap, I think. I think that's about £55–60, isn't it? Suddenly it feels expensive again. But what have we got in the bag? We've got many sprues, opening the bags in September. This won't be a quick review, I better warn you. Looks like it might have some resin parts. Okay, this is where the price starts to go up. You've got model mask from IBG. Is that included? Presuming is that included in the price or not? I'm not sure. What did Neil say? I can't remember. I might have to put a note in the comments just to clarify that. And then you've got recommending Hataka, which are Polish, of course. Hataka paints. Right. Well, let's just move that out of the way for the time being. I am stuck for space. I think I'm going to try not to be too crowded here if I can. So I'm going to move these over here. Oh, out of the way. Try to keep my area clear as possible. Looks promising. Right, now then, these people in Poland look like they've done quite a professional job for us. They're not like the, well, I don't want to spoil if you haven't seen it yet, the Bandai one. We have some issues with that. And now, the IBG Models Company have given us a proper history and they've done it well. Now, of course, the Polish were synonymous with the Battle of Britain. There are lots of Polish pilots in the Royal Air Force, flying Spitfires and Hurricanes, of course. And, oh, those decals look wonderful. I think this is a kit that on the face of it looks rather expensive, but actually when you get into it you probably won't think it is. Not once you realise what's in the box. It says the Supermarine Spitfire is without doubt one of the most iconic and recognisable aircraft of the Second World War. While its story spans the entirety of the conflict, from the very earliest days to the final victory, it was the early variants powered by the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine with a single-stage supercharger that laid the foundations for the modern Royal Air Force, both technologically and symbolically. The Spitfire's origins date back to the 30s, when Great Britain, recognising the growth threat posed by Nazi Germany's expanding air force, began modernising its own aerial capabilities. Well, we needed to. We had Hawker Furies and things, didn't we? Gladiators, you know. I mean, the Gladiator was actually a good plane, but not quite good enough. Reginald Mitchell's design, influenced by his experience with the high-speed Schneider Trophy racing aircraft, proved to be a masterpiece. Aerodynamically very clean, modern structurally, and exceptionally agile in the sky. The Spitfire quickly became the RAF's premier fighter, embodying a new spirit of a reformed and ready Air Force. Operational variants such as the Mark I and Mark II, armed with its 8 Browning 303 machine guns, played a central role in the Battle of Britain, giving the RAF the means to resist and ultimately repel the Luftwaffe's aerial assault. Later models, like the Mark V, introduced heavier armament with improved performance while retaining the Spitfire's hallmark manoeuvrability and flying pleasure. I wouldn't know, would I? I've tried twice and still not got up in one, but coming soon. Third time lucky. I digress. Among the lesser known but crucial developments were the high altitude versions, such as the Spitfire Mark VI, which featured extended wingtips, a pressurised cockpit and specialised equipment for high altitude interception missions. Designed to counter enemy reconnaissance and bomber aircraft operating at extreme altitude, these variants pushed the Merlin engines to their limits. In parallel, the PR photo reconnaissance versions were developed, optimised for long range missions with added fuel tanks, stripped down equipment and high altitude capability. These unarmed but very swift aircraft flew deep over enemy territory, capturing vital intelligence with unmatched precision. Spitfires powered by the early single-stage supercharged Merlins saw combat on every front of the war, from the White Cliffs of Dover in southern England, across the deserts of North Africa and the besieged skies of Malta, and into the jungles of the Far East. Their adaptability and reliability made them indispensable across vastly different environments and theatres of war. Although the early single-stage Merlin defined the early years, it was by no means the end of the Spitfire's evolution. Later models were fitted with 2-stage Merlins, like the Mark IX, and dramatically improved high-altitude performance, and eventually the more powerful Griffin engine, extending the aircraft's relevance and capability to the very end of the war and beyond. I think these have been Korea, didn't they? The fighter variants Mark I and Mark II formed the backbone of the RAF fighter command during the early and critical years of the war. The Spitfire Mark I became fully operational in 1938-39 and was widely distributed among frontline squadrons at the time of the German invasion of France. Powered by the early Rolls-Royce Merlin and Mark II and Mark III engines, and armed with 8 303 Browning machine guns, the Mark I offered excellent speed, climb rate and agility, qualities that earned it a fearsome reputation among both RAF pilots and their German adversaries. It's a good write-up this, I'm impressed. As the Luftwaffe began its sustained aerial campaign against Britain in the summer of 1940, and the Battle of Britain began, the Spitfires were deployed across southern England to counter the waves of German bombers and their fighter escorts. Whilst the more rugged and numerous Hawker Hurricanes often took on the bombers, Spitfires were frequently tasked with engaging the German escort Bf-109Es in the high altitude dogfights that became the hallmark of the Battle of Britain, images which are etched into people's memory even today. The Spitfire's tight turning radius, sensitive controls and superb visibility gave it an edge on one-to-one combat, allowing skilled pilots to outmaneuver many of their opponents. The Mark II, introduced in late 1940, featured minor but meaningful improvement, including a more powerful Mark XII Merlin engine with a stronger airframe with provisions for a Rotol constant speed propeller. Though visually almost identical to its predecessor, the Mark II gave a better climb performance and reliability, allowing it to take over the frontline duties as production of the Mark I began to slow down. Together, these two early marks of Spitfire became symbols of resistance and courage, their technical excellence. And these are machines that not only helped win the Battle of Britain, but laid the foundation of the RAF's growing dominance in the skies over Europe. What an excellent history that is. Word perfect, good English, fantastic. Well done, IBG, I'm very impressed with that. Right, let's have a look at their actual instructions. Ooh, I think I'm going to like these. It looks a little bit like Qatari. Oh my word, this. Now I'm starting to see where the money has gone. Okay, I'll zoom you in. We'll flash through it as quick as possible because there's a lot to get through. Here we go. So, you see what I mean about Qatari? It's colours. It's all in colour. This is a bit better than Bandai's instructions, isn't it? Look at this. Non-armoured. It's got here non-armoured cockpit metal seat, up-armoured cockpit. Oh yeah, no armour behind. This has got armour behind, and this has got lots more armour behind. Plastic seat, metal seat, plastic seat. Gosh, there's 3 variants. So you've got a proper interior painting guide. I mean, this is a bit like Gas Patch or as I say, Qatari stroke Wing Up Wings, isn't it? This has been well done. You've got your flare racks there. Shows you clear clarity about what paints to use. Wow. Border model, please take note. Yeah? Look at this. This is brilliant. This is where the money's gone. Okay, I don't think this is overpriced now. I think it's about right. I can tell straight away. I know it's only two Spitfires that would, from Airfix, would probably cost you about 30 quid. But there's a lot of added value here, you know. And you don't get this in a border model kit. It doesn't tell you what colours anything is. Absolutely useless they are. Hopeless. Look at this. They've thought about it, these guys. They've done it properly. I think this might be one of the best. Along with Qatari, it's probably the best instructions of the year. And Airfix are not far behind, in fairness. Right, so really nice. So there's these different versions of the seat, without the armour, with the armour, different markings, different colourings, absolutely brilliant. Then we've got fantastic detail here with lots of decals and stencils going in on the side of the the cockpit sides, building up your. This has been brilliantly done. This is amazing. I hope the plastic goes together well, because I think we've got an absolute winner here. So you've got the all the interior, the pedals, rudder pedals going in, and a stick. You've got your main cockpit surround going in there, the bulkhead, the seat going in here, complete with the armour plate going in the back where applicable. 3 different versions again, 3 different lots of markings. Putting your markings and decals in when you fit in all these components. So you've got your instruments, you've got your floor, and you've got your seat and going in there. And then we have got the fuel tank, which is worryingly right in front of the pilot, of course, from the instruments. That goes in there completely. It has an armour plate as well, main fuel tank and armour plating, which is good, not like the Japanese Zero, which didn't seem to have armour plating anyway, did it? Voltage regulator going in, you've got your compressed air cylinders, and look at the clarity here. Descriptive. Yes, my friends at ICM could learn from this, I think, if they look at the way they've got these descriptions and details. IBG are mightily impressing me with this, I've got to say. This is a 72nd scale kit. We've got PE seat belts going in, and then building in all these different variants, depending on which one you're going for. 4 options here. Markings 5 to 10. There are 10 different versions. 10. Marking 5. I'm just looking at the back to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's a lot more, isn't there? There's 10 different options. 10! Oh, I don't believe it. Okay, right, back to where we were. That's incredible. Right, we'll keep going. I'll try and speed up a bit, because we'll be here for a while. I'm loving it. This is really good. Is it going to be a 10? You never know. Yeah, all your oxygen bottles going in there. I think there's a fire extinguisher bottle, I think, as well. Accumulator. The radio. Got your radio going in there behind. I love the way they've done it, and it's like a little Qatari, isn't it? The way they've created this like a tub for the for the whole of the cockpit section. And then you've got closed or open canopy options. You have to make a decision at this point. Bits to cut off, a couple of drill holes that you might need to drill here. I wish they'd drill the holes themselves, but I suppose if there's different options, they can't, can they? Some need the holes, some don't. Then we've got a full guide to the interior colours. All your little bits going in there. What's this? Oil reservoir tank, retraction system, wireless controller. I love the way they've detailed it all, so we know exactly what we're talking about here. Ah, it's brilliant. Then you've got the cowling cover on top of the fuel tank here. You've got your different canopy options coming in here, open or closed. The aerial, of course, on the Mark 1, Mark 2, it has the aerial. It has some rigging for the VHF aerial wiring. And then we've got fairly conventional sort of top and bottom wing. But don't forget, this is 72nd scale kit. This is going to a lot of detail at this scale, I would say, much more than normal. The Plessy signal device. So much detail for 72nd scale, it's remarkable. And we've got our wingtips going on, we've got our radiators coming in, the tailplanes going on, fitting it all together. Well, I hope the fit is good, because it's quite complex, isn't it? My only worry with the kit would be fit, the actual fit of the parts. Because there's a lot of complexity here, a lot of detailed, part-heavy areas that have got to be brought together. And it's very small, and that can often lead to problems. What's this? For all markings. Is that the light? I think it's the navigation light. Then we've got the de Havilland, which is the more pointy. I was right about this. The de Havilland spinner, which is the pointier one, or the Rotor, which is the more rounded one, more blunt one. Then we've got the gear coming in here. Undercarriage. Undercarriage assembly is also possible after camo painting. Okay. Probably best to do it before. And then you've got your mirror. You've got mirror on the 72nd scale kit, unusual. Mirror going on your cockpit, on the front of the windscreen at the top there. Fill in. Grooved, fill in, okay. De Havilland spinner or Rotor spinner, here they go, going on the end. Your exhausts, plastic or printed exhausts. There's obviously a 3D resin printed one. I'd go with the resin ones, I think, depending on what they look like. There's the wire I mentioned a few minutes ago. There's the wire you need to do. I wouldn't make it with plastic. I'd do that with a bit of easy line or similar. And then over here we've got that appears to be it. You've got your finished Spitfire, and you just got to put all your markings on. There's quite a lot of stencils on a Spit, of course. Many stencils saying Trestle, blah blah. There's a lot, isn't there? Oh my goodness, there is a lot. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that at 72nd scale. I think you've got to be careful here, because it might make it look a bit weird if you use some of the really tiny ones. Because they are hard to see. If you think of how small it will look at 72nd scale. At Spitfire, from a distance of like 50 to 75 yards, you wouldn't see any of that, would you? Unless you were very up close to it. But anyway, that's for the modeller to decide, I think. And then we've got all those going in there. And we go on and on and on, and then we get into the markings. And we've got really good detail. I'm not going to read it all out. It gives you a huge detail on each squadron as well. This is brilliantly done. This is very like Qatari, I've got to say. It's almost like they're copying their style. So here we've got 602 City of Glasgow Squadron in the first markings, where they have the friend or foe, the black wing and the white wing. And then we've got 92 Robert Stanford Tuck, of course, who was an ace in the Battle of Britain in Hurricanes and Spitfires. Escorted Prime Minister Winston Churchill's flight to Paris in May 16th to the 17th of May, just before Paris was overrun, of course. So he escorted the Prime Minister, keep the Luftwaffe away. Sadly, not much long, only a week or two afterwards, Paris was overrun by the Nazis. But look at the detail we've got here. We've got here Robin Hood. This is the Dunkirk option, Dunkirk evacuations. So if you've seen the Dunkirk movie, that's the right markings for that one. Then we've got Al Deer's aircraft, famous from the Airfix 24 scale Spitfire, of course. Al Deer, of course, was 54 Squadron. And he was an ace, wasn't he, Al? So for the Kiwis amongst you, that's definitely one for you. And that of course, remind you, is currently celebrated in the Battle of Britain Memorial flight. I've seen this aircraft fly over my house, in fact. I didn't get any good footage, sadly, but there we go. It appeared too late for me to grab the camera. John Ellis, Battle of Britain, Biggin Hill Spitfire, DWW, 610 Squadron. That's the County of Chester Squadron, they're known as. Does it say that? It doesn't. Does it say that anywhere? Because that's what they're known as, the County of Chester Squadron. Do you remember that DWK was featured as the Tamiya option on the 48 scale kit? And there's also unconfirmed, is that? Unconfirmed markings. And then we've got number 65 Squadron at Manston in Kent. This is absolutely ace, having all these options. Wow. This is what you're paying for with your £55. Now, some people might criticise this kit and say, we don't need 10, do we? Which, yeah, okay, but it is nice to have, you know, you can always keep those decals for other kits you might build in the future. This one is a Hornchurch option, Battle of Britain Hornchurch. And this is the Mark 1, sorry. And I think we move on to Mark 2s then. Yeah, then we move on to the Rotel Mark 2s. I never liked the look of the Rotel, the very blunted spin. I think it looks a bit bluff, but it did give the more controllable propeller, didn't it? How did they describe it? They called it the Let's go back. What was the description they gave it? Yeah, it was in here, wasn't it? No. Constant speed, that was it. Constant speed propeller, the Rotel. So that's the Hornchurch option, and then we've got the Big Wing at Duxford, number 19 Squadron, QV. Now, of course, there's the rebuilt Spitfire now, the QV marking on it, which is based at Duxford. And you see that at all their air shows. Lovely aircraft, very nice one. So there's the QV Spitfire. Sergeant Bernard James Jennings. This is the Big Wing, Lee Mallory's Big Wing. What happened to this aircraft? Doesn't really say. And then we've got the 66 Squadron, sorry. So this is the City of Coventry Squadron, Athol Stanhope Forbes. Is that in Scotland? Athol Stanhope Forbes, don't know that one. Oh no, Athol Stanhope Forbes is the pilot, I beg your pardon. So where was this based? Biggin Hill, beg your pardon, got it all wrong. Not reading it properly. Right, it's Biggin Hill, Athol Stanhope Forbes is the pilot. And then we've got a bonus markings. Alan Wright, who also escorted the Prime Minister's flight to Paris. He's the teammate and squadron in the same squadron as Stanford Took. And we've got GRU is the other option. That's another one of the same squadron. And then further down we've got the Hornchurch and Manston, late July 1940, East India Fund flight. So the East India Fund funded the aircraft. And then we've got Falmere. Falmere is just literally about a mile from Duxford. So that's the RAF Falmere, Duxford Wing. And then finally, so you've got 15. I'm going to count them up in a minute. There's a lot of options here. And then you've got Harry Steele, who was based at Falmere as well, just up the road from Duxford. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't believe I'm saying these words. I've never seen a kit with more options than that. 15 marking options you've got. What? That's where your money's gone, I suppose. That's where your money's gone. So let's have a look at these decals then, because that was impressive. I didn't see anything in those instructions that I didn't like. That was absolutely epic. Not at all. Much more than I was expecting, you know. Oh, it's got resealable bags. That's beautiful. If only the others are resealable. Those will have to be resealed by my magic later. So let's have a look at what we got. Let's have a look. Mask sets. You know, this is why it's not cheap kit. This has got the lot. This kit. It's got mask set. Now I think that this is Neil. If you're watching, forgive me because I should probably have reread your email. But obviously you bought this separately. There's a separate product here which is IBG's mask set for the Mark 1 to 5. And the PR version. So obviously he's thinking of perhaps doing a PR version. So I think he's bought these because he's got the barcode on the back. So I think he's bought these as a separate item, which is very nice. So I won't open that because that wouldn't be necessary. And it means splitting open the pack. Now here we've got obviously a mask set. There's one there. Then there's another one. Are they marked with a number though? It's quite hard to follow. Did we talk about masks? I didn't really pick up on that in the instructions, so I probably made a bit of a blunder there. Stencil decals. Perhaps that could have been made a little bit clearer. Anyway, we won't dwell on that. Here we have got the seat belts. Mainly it's bits like seat belts and harnesses and one or two things like the little grill on the radiator intake of the oil radiator intake underneath the chin. Stuff like that, you know. It's nice, isn't it? There's two of these. There's actually two for both aircraft. There's one per plane. One for you, one for you. There we go. So that's that. Then we have got, and there's two of these. There's actually two of these each. This is the stencil. So you see what I mean about stencils at this scale? It's a bit tricky, isn't it? Let's just go a bit bright with my light so you can see it nicely. These are tiny, the tiniest stencils ever. This has got me worried. It's like a phantom's nightmare, you know. Phantom scenario. That's one set, and then there's this set. Factory stencils and placards for the Spitfire. But they've done them beautifully. They really have. Look at that. Absolutely brilliant. Those are really nice. So put those gently away. And then we've got our decals. And of course there are many options. So there's a lot, and the colours look absolutely smack on to me. The only thing I would just say is that, well, no, I'm not going to say it because I think I'm probably wrong there. I was going to say that one or two of them just have a bit more, perhaps a bit more shadow. Some of these smaller ones here and these, perhaps a little bit more carrier film around them than I would have liked, but it's not excessive. But they're quite small, you know. So it gets tricky to do it, I suppose, at this sort of size. Not very big decals, are they? They've even got the gun patches, look, for the gun covers on the wings. Aldea's Kiwi. You need to zoom this in, it's so tiny. Aldea's Kiwi marking, look. Huh. And there's the India Fund marking. Huh. Aren't they nice though? Aren't they tiny? Jeez. It's incredible that somebody's gone to this amount of trouble on a 72nd scale kit, you know. I think for that alone they deserve some credit. Some of you, like me, will be looking at this though and thinking, oh, I mean, I know I've just got new lenses and I've got my more close-up ones which I'm now going to put on, but are they good enough is the question I'm asking myself. Yeah, they are good enough, just about. But there's a lot of tiny stuff here, a lot of tiny stuff. Let me just reassemble that and safely put them away from where that self-adhesive is, because that always makes me very nervous. Decals and self-adhesive strips do not make good bedfellows. They just don't. Lying there safely. And then these are a little bit more robust, so we don't have to worry quite as much. There we are. All back safely for Neil. Impressive, most impressive, as Lord Vader would say. Right, I'm going to keep my geeky glasses on because I think I need them, to be perfectly honest. Where to begin? Let's begin with this rather interesting looking resealable flag, I think. Is it resealable? My imagination. Don't think it is, you know. I'm dreaming. There's no resealability here. It's got to be cut open. Damn. Right, where did I put my ruler? Here it is. Can't see a damn thing with these glasses. Beyond about a foot, can't see anything. They're very close up indeed. So, I think this company has done us proud of this though. This is a pretty impressive set. Certainly exceeding my expectations, if I'm honest. Oh, okay, I'm going to cut it again, am I? Right, okay. So, what we got? I'm realising the £55 is not excessive really now, because there's a lot in this pack. On the face of it, it sounds ridiculous, but as soon as you get into it, you realise you can see where the money's gone, you know, which is fair enough. That's what value for money is. Have a look at this. Oh. So we've got the exhaust stacks here, and they're even marked left and right really clearly. So I don't know if you can make it out. Can you see the hollowing out of the back of the exhaust? Yeah. Aren't those nice? They are really, really good. The part behind it I don't actually recognise. I think that might be the bit that it mounts into. Yes, it is. So it's got a mounting that's 3D printed as well for the exhaust. That's cool. Those are beautiful. They really are. Absolutely fantastic. And then we've got the little oil radiator intake here. Just got to be on full zoom now because they're so tiny. Aren't they nice? Beautifully hollowed out. Yep. And then we've got the wheels, the main gear wheels. Whoops. We've got two different options. There's a, is it a 5-spoke? No, why is there two different ones? Well, the weight on wheels, I'm not sure why there's two. Well, oh, sorry, it's for the two aircraft, of course. Sorry, being a bit thick there. I thought it was different spoking, a spoke design on the actual wheel, but it isn't. Those are nice. They really are nice. Turn it around. Isn't that fantastic? Beautiful. So that's the first one. I'm going to zoom you back. Zoom you back. Well, I try and fight with this. Then there's a second set which seems to have different exhausts. So I think this is the difference between the Mark I and the Mark II exhausts. So let's very carefully put that back in there. Be careful with these, I don't lose anything at all. Okay. Then, yeah, so this is the, I'm not sure whether which is the Mark II and which is the Mark I, but again, if I zoom you in, this is probably a little bit tricky to photograph because it is lighter in colour, the resin. There we go. See that? See up those exhaust holes at the back? Beautifully formed those are. And again, you've got the mounting point where they actually fit into. Fantastic. That's that one. And then we have got, oh my god. This is now blowing me away completely, this kit. I think we have a 10 out of 10. I think this is a 10 out of 10 kit, I think I can tell already. Look at it. It's got the entire cockpit moulded in printed resin. It's got the finest detail. It's got the whole of the, it's got the whole of the detail, the structure of the seat and the seat belts pre-moulded. You've got the stick with the the gun control on it. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's kind of not doing it, it's hard to do it justice on the camera, of course. Just check this out. It's got the flare rack at the front of the seat with all the little holes in it for the flares. Can you make that out? That's just epic. That's remarkable. So that's that. There's 3 versions. So this is what it was referring to at the beginning, which I didn't fully appreciate. So that one I've just shown you here is the one that's got no armour plate behind. Then we've got the one that has got armour plates. I'm trying to think what the difference was. Let me just check it again. Oh yeah, one's a plastic seat and one's a metal seat. That was the difference. So this is, I think, the plastic seat. Oops. There's one. Yeah, this is the plastic seat. And one of the ways you can tell the difference is it doesn't have the flare rack at the front of the seat. And the one that is the metal version, whoops, put them side by side, like that. Now you can see the flare rack on the one on the right. It's got the flare rack at the front of the seat. So if I put all 3 together, you can probably, hopefully, see the difference. So the one on the extreme right now is the early version without the armour plate behind. See it? The one in the centre has got the metal version with the armour plate behind the seat. It's got the flare rack as well. And the one on the left is the plastic version, and it has no flare rack at the back. All 3 have got epic detail. Just look at that. That's got to be one of the best things I've seen for a long time. Absolutely remarkable. Especially when you look at those instruments. And you've got the stick control there. It's just amazing. That's epic. I'm absolutely blown away by it. Well, I didn't see this coming. I just thought it'd be interesting. I thought, oh, IBG, who are they? You know, this is heading toward Kits of the Year top podium territory, if not the winner. Quite frankly, this is absolutely amazing. I'm not saying it's going to be the winner because we don't know yet. It just shows things change on a weekly basis when you see something new. But this is a serious contender for Kits of the Year. I think. Wow, it's just epic. Fantastic. It's a joy to look at it. Is there any more? Oh, there's no more. Is that all there is? Is that all? It's a bit spoiled, haven't I? Put those back then. Let's put those back. Yeah, I'll have to definitely be careful how I seal these. I'm just going to pull that out of the way. Right. Well, I got more than a bargain for there, that's for sure. Right then. This is just going to be an amazing experience, I can tell. This is going to be the longest 70-second scale kit review I've ever done, for sure. I can feel that already. Whoa. You're going to like it. They've got every rivet detail, but it feels smooth. It's not overdone, it's incredibly finessed. That is just amazing. Right, let's zoom you right in for this. Let's see if you're as impressed as I am. I am stunned by this. Because it looks perhaps surprising. You don't normally see that detail on a 70-second scale Spitfire. But trust me, when you run your fingers over it, it's almost smooth. Here, for example, that feels smooth. You can't feel it. It is so fine. It's so fine, it's so well done. It's not heavy at all. That is truly remarkable. There's the main top of the port wing. If you look carefully, you can see you've got the recesses for the guns and the leading edge. Same on this side. That's just absolutely unbelievable, quite frankly. And you've got, look at the recesses for the the shell case shoots so accurately done, you know. That's a beautiful sprue. And there's no flash or anything, it's very clean looking, isn't it? Next one. Okay, so that's a duplicate, so I don't think there's any difference on the actual part. So I won't open that, there's no need to open the duplication. And that's going to be true with these clear parts as well, because there's one for each aircraft, and it covers both types as an option. So it just won't be necessary to open both, because they are literally identical. So we'll put that in there as well. I'm all for opening all the bags, but there's no point in opening just for the sake of it. So let's have a look at this clear parts thing. They haven't done such a good job at IBG with their bag sealing. You won't be able to tell this from your angle. I'll tell nothing in a moment. But they've gone and sealed it at this really, really weird oblique angle, which is not helpful for us for resealing. It's going to make life very difficult, actually. We've really gone close to the sprue as well, making it doubly difficult. Let's have a look then. It's got the straight type hood and the more bubble style hood, sliding hood, which is nice. I don't think it's quite as strong in terms of the moulding kind of perfection. This is not a critical comment, they look really nice to be honest, but I don't think it's quite as strong as the rest is. I think it's the old problem with clear parts, especially when we're getting into very small clear parts like we've got here. It kind of gets trickier and trickier and trickier, to be fair. Let's see what you think. There's the that's the wingtip ends, isn't it? Well, that's the wingtip ends there, but that would be for a clip wing version. So there's obviously parts here that's generic. It's going to be used on the clip wing version later, so I think we ignore that. Here you've got your windscreen, with and without. If you look very closely, these two windscreens, the one on the left has got armour plating and the one on the right hasn't. So the one on the right will be one of the very early Mark 1s. And again over here, the next one here, this has got no armour plating either. So then as we turn it around, you can see that we've got, be very careful with this, so you can see that we've got the bubble style, and yet here where my finger is, that's the straight type hood with no bubble effect. See that? Should be easy to see now, yeah. Straight on the right and bubble on the left. And then over here, these are obviously the open options, and then you've got for the closed options, you've got the same effect here. And you can see you've got the straight hood or the bubble hoods. But they're really nice actually, they're beautifully done. No flash, they look very crisp. Perhaps not as defined on the framing as I would have liked. That's been the only criticism, I think. Then over here we've got some more different options. Yeah, the canopy, the actual framework is not quite as clearly defined. There is quite a lot of, especially on these bubble hoods just that you're looking at now, there's quite a lot of distortion there, if I'm honest. I don't know if you can make that out in the video or not. But to the eye you can certainly see it with my new super glasses. But those are beautiful clear parts, nothing to complain about. I wouldn't mark them down. Nothing, you know, they're not poor at all. Now, then, some spinners and rotol rotol spinners, and we've got some propellers. So, sorry, it's quite tricky because I've got these other glasses on. I can't actually see what's on the screen very easily. It's all a bit of a blur. They're intended for very close work only. Here we go. Now, tiny criticism here, and it is tiny. On just one of these, they've done something I wish they hadn't done, and on the others, they haven't done it on these propellers. There are 5 different options on the propellers. And they've gone and mounted the actual sprue contact gate point right in the centre of the boss, except on one where it's on the blades. Not sure why they did that. That was an odd choice, but if you look here, you'll see what I mean. So this one at the end is absolutely bob on, and then this one for some strange reason, they're going to put it on the blades. And then they go back to common sense again. It's a little bit strange, that, isn't it? It's a bit curious, to be honest. Because here they haven't, have they? The second one, which is configured the same way, they've done it spot on. But this one, they're going to put it, attaching it to the blade. So I'd rather they hadn't. But those, I'm being very nitpicky because we've got 5 and 4 of them are perfect. So it's only a minor bit of cleanup, I suspect. But these are beautifully moulded and really nice the way they form them. What a lovely kit this is. And then look at the spinners, look. So you've got your de Havilland extra pointy one here. I think that's for a later model actually. I don't think that's the Mark 1 and Mark 2. I think that's for maybe a Mark 5 or later Mark 9. Then you've got your Mark 2, the Rotal, the blunt one. And then you've got the de Havilland pointy one here. So you can see the difference, can't you, between the three? You see them at that sort of angle. You can see the blunter Rotal style. Very nice sprue though. Really nice though. So I'm being a bit picky here because I'm sort of getting so excited. There's a tiny hint of flash on that one that you don't use, funnily enough. I'm pretty sure that's relevant anyway, so you're not going to use that. Right, so that's that one. And then we have got a complete duplicate, I believe. Yeah, an absolute duplicate. So because there's 2 of everything. So and a lot of these parts, they just, you know, we don't need to open both bags of everything. So if I can probably, it's probably not as daunting as I thought it was at first, this review. So we need to open that one, that's the interior, and what are we calling it? IBG. Yes, it is a duplicate. It's a full-on duplication. So there's 2 of everything, and there's only a couple of examples where you need to look at it differently. So we even have here, now this is worth looking at. This wasn't mentioned in the instructions, I don't think so. There's actually a Mark 1 early here. A Mark 1 early. So they're clearly, you can see they're clearly going to do a Mark 5, and there's clearly a Mark 1 early in the pipeline, which they've included everything in the bag. So you're getting more than you actually need, technically speaking. Let me just show you. Because this looks nice. That's nice. So you got Mark 1 early 2-bladed prop. A sprue just for that, which isn't even mentioned here. These are all Mark 1s rather than Mark 1 early. Don't think that was mentioned anywhere, was it? I'm just going to double check as I show you this part. I'm going to flick in here and do a bit of a double check. So as you're looking across, you've obviously got the exhaust stubs, and then you've got the I think it's the throttle control or the landing gear control, and then you've got your 2-bladed prop. Yeah, it doesn't show the 2-bladed anywhere, so it's not. There's no 2-bladed that's suggested in this kit, but clearly they're including it anyway, and they're probably going to do an update soon. It's nice that I think Neil's got a bonus there, possibly. You can see that how the 2-bladed spinner is different, can't you? If you look carefully, see it? There's your 2-bladed propellers, and then you've got the earlier, slightly deeper, I think they are, a slightly deeper aileron, which my camera would just focus. Thank you very much. Slightly deeper ailerons. That's beautiful plastic there, really nice. Well, I didn't have particularly high hopes or expectations for this kit. As I said, it was a blank sheet of paper in my mind, and it's way exceeded anything that I might have imagined, really. It feels like a scaled down Qatari, it's the best way I describe this. It really does. That's nice, another nice sprue, isn't it, there? And the quality of this plastic is high. The actual plastic itself reminds me of the new Airfix plastic, actually, this dark grey that they've gone for, which is much better and seems to be less problematic for sanding and for gluing. That was nice. Then we've got 2 of those. Yeah, you actually get 2 sets of that as well. Duplicate of that. How remarkable. So this one we need to open. This is the cockpit sides that you're going to build up. Now don't forget, you've got a drop-in cockpit. Have you got the option to build up a cockpit as well? You have. You've got the option to either use the resin 3D or build up the injection moulded cockpit. Either or. There's a lot in here. There's a hell of a lot in this kit. I start to think it's quite good value. People think 172 Spitfire, I'm not paying 55 quid, but when you see what's in the actual box, suddenly it's a different kettle of fish altogether. So here we've got the cockpit sides, where you build up all your detail and your controls, which is really nice. Can't fault that at all, really. Yeah. That is exceptional, I would say. So when I'm just flicking back, as I'm showing you, I'm just flicking back in the instructions, and yeah, you can either drop in choose your path. If you're using the 3D printed cockpit, you can skip procedures 9 to 11. Sorry, skip procedures 3 to 8 and 9 to 11. Cheating. Bloody hell. This comes back to what I talked about last year, doesn't it? What are you? A modeller or a cad? A cheater and deceiver. Someone who drops in a completely pre-made cockpit and then says to everybody, look at what I did. Like the bloody evil emperor. You can't do that. You can. Depends what mood you're in, doesn't it? I mean, you could do it on one of them as an experiment and then build up the other one rather than do it both the same, you know. The choice is yours, of course. But don't go getting upset if I suddenly ring you up in the middle of the night and say, you cheater and deceiver, have you no shame? I'm going to out you to the modelling community. Everything you've done is all pre-printed 3D resin cockpits, etc. Shame on you. Hang your head in shame. Are you not capable of doing it yourself? Outrageous. Right. And here are those parts for that cockpit that you will build up. The only downside, it's not really a criticism, especially not at this scale, is the fact that they haven't got the drilled out holes in the bulkheads. But that would be very, very incredibly difficult to mould that. You'd have to, again, 3D printing is the answer, which is why they've offered you the option. Because you can't really get those holes accurate when you're doing it injection moulded. So let's have a look at these parts then. Back and tap. There we go. So we've got our lovely VHF aerial there at the top right. Two options, two different types of mast. We've got a bomb. There's definitely other versions coming. There's bombs here. Yeah? £250 bombs, I think those are. Then you've got your exhaust stubs, which don't look anything like. They're good, but they don't look anything like them. They're not hollowed out at the exit of the exhaust like they are on the resin version. And then you've got the back of your seat at the back of the cockpit. Turn this upside down. Then you've got your cockpit's the stick. Here, two different options of the stick control. And we have got over here we've got the seat, instrument panel. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. Instrument panel. And then we've got some of the gear legs and the radiators for the oil intercooler and oxygen bottles and the fuel tank there next to the oxygen bottles. Can you see that? Dead centre of the screen now. More bombs. Oh, sorry, it's the same bombs. Didn't realise. So I'll flick it around. We've got here the front fillet. I think this is for the wing. Here, the fillet section for the wing, and your oil radiator cooler intake, and then here you've got your gear doors, radio here, radio. Really nice. Got your tail wheel over here. Yeah. You've got oxygen hose. Can you see that? It's tiny. Oxygen hose. 72nd scale. This is a remarkable kit. I mean, I think it's going to be very, very fiddly, I've got to be honest. It's not going to be an easy build. Not a weekend build, I don't think this. You think 72nd scale Spitfire, and you automatically think, most of us do, you would have thought, in the olden days you'd say Airfix or Matchbox. Now you'd say Airfix out, yeah, I'll have that built this afternoon, you know. I'll have that built this afternoon, I'll paint it tomorrow. You're not going to do that with this one. This is going to take a lot longer. Right then, what we got? We're getting through it because some of these are duplicates, and we have another one here where they are absolute duplicate sprues for the two sets with no difference at all. No. Okay, so that's fine. So that keeps things a bit simpler for us. That's a duplicate, that's a duplicate. Yep, definitely duplicates. And then this one. So we've actually got 3 more sprues to go. Okay. Right. This is one of the most amazing 72nd scale kits I've ever seen, I think. It's going to get a 10. I think I can feel it already. It's inevitable. We're already past the point of no return, really, I think. It's quite obvious to me. You know, sometimes you know it absolutely won't be a 10. And then you get to a point with some kits where you think, well, it's clearly not going to fail now because it's got no major hurdle to still leap. What's that? Not sure what that is. It's a pity it hasn't got a pilot, and it's a pity it hasn't got a stand, but, you know, whose has these days on these models just tend not to do it with things like Spitfires, don't they? Sadly. Although Tamiya managed it, didn't they, with the 32nd scale. So you get your rudders here, 2 different types of rudder. Sorry, beg your pardon. No, it isn't. It's just one rudder, and then the elevators. Just they're all together and just through with them. You get your wing tips, and again you get these beautifully fine, proper scale rivets. They're tiny. I mean, they are tiny. I can't believe they've got them on there. I think I was watching. There was maybe a few months ago. There was some press release from IBG showing this. It may have been on Jonathan Mock's show. Interesting modelling company, I think. And I thought it won't be like that when it comes out. You know, this has even got Dunlop actually inscribed onto the tyres. I don't know if I'm at full zoom here. Can you see that Dunlop on the tyres? It's remarkable. And then you've got the upper cowling, top of the engine, and then you've got your little spar here, which this is the sort of spar. Again, it's clever design. It goes in, it forms the wheel well surround and the spar, and the main sort of one of the bulkheads for inside the fuselage. Brilliant. Then you've got your door, where my finger is, the door, flick down door. Then you've got the other parts of the wheel well, various controls, trim levers over here. It's amazing. Now, one thing I didn't notice, which I've got to say, just flicking onto the other side, looking at the wheels again, I don't recall, I'll double check this in a second, but I don't recall seeing the Dunlop logo on the resin tyres, which I'm going to check for you, because that's quite important in that resin bag. Let's just have a look at this. I think it's critical that we know this. You need to know about it for sure. Which one was it in? Which one was it in? Have I lost them? Sorry, Neil, I've lost them. Oh, no, there they are. Now, I'm going to have my great big optimisers on. This is me at maximum visual limit. Now, it has got engraving. It doesn't say Dunlop though, interestingly. What does it say? Yes, it does. It's quite different actually, the way it's presented. I would just say there's a slight, now I've got the big optimisers on, there is a slight quality issue on this tyre. One of them, There's a little bit of bubbling in the resin. I'll show you. I don't know if I'll pick it up on the camera, to be honest. That one the same. Now, the other one's alright. This one's fine. It does have it in there. If I'm brutally honest, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely convinced that they really... Okay, they have got the depth to them now. They seem a little bit different. The wheels seem smaller actually than they do on the plastic ones. The actual wheel themselves, diameter. It does say Dunlop, but it's actually at a slightly smaller scale on the actual writing. I'm going to zoom in on this particular one to see if I can... Oh, I think you might struggle with this on the focus. Let's go absolutely max zoom because we need it. There's just a little bit of bubbling, it's nothing, a little bit of filler will fix this in 2 seconds, literally. Well, if you look at the nearer tyre to you, I don't know if you can just make out, as you look at it at about 2 o'clock, there's a little bit of bubbling in the resin, where it's just got some like little air pockets that's opened up. Can you see it? Quite hard to see. So it's about 2 o'clock, between sort of 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, as you look at that tyre circumference. Anyway, there we are. Nobody's perfect, but I say that the tiniest bit of resin will fix that instantly for you, so it's not really a problem. Wow. Oops. Get in there. In you go. Right, and I'll seal those up for nail properly later. So there's no danger of being lost. So we've seen that one really, and it's gorgeous. You know, I mean, to be honest, I don't think you'd lose much by using the plastic injection moulded wheels and tyres, because they are gorgeous. They're as good as anything you'd get in any other kit. You know, and you've got the detail there on things like the seat as well. Let me just zoom in for this, and I'll show you the next sprue. This turned into a bit of a marathon. This is definitely the longest 70-second scale review I've ever done. But you need to see this detail if you want to spend £55 on a little Spitfire. It's only 70-second scale, but there's a reason it's that much money. It's, you know, the value is absolutely there, I think. I do think it's worth it. If you're into 70-second scale, I think this is the Spitfire for you, because it's raising the bar on detailed scale in a way that we haven't really experienced quite like this before. Delivering on many fronts. Probably not for the youngster though. It's not really the sort of thing I would have wanted when I was about 8 years old. And I wanted a quick Spitfire from Airfix or Matchbox. Right, now then. The fuselage. Let's have a look at that. This is where they can be a little bit controversial when you notice kits that have gone to such detailed lengths of detail to try and get in as much as possible. Now this is very accurate in its riveting detail, but one does question the need for it. Can you see how? Is that over the top, do you think? Is that over the top? Do we really want... I can't quite decide in my own mind whether I want that much detail at this scale. You know, on the forward side panel where the Merlin is, that's got a lot of rivets on it. Which, yeah, it's realistic, but I don't think it's... How can I put this? I think I'd go easy with the weathering and the washes on this, because you'll end up with it looking overdone if you're not careful. You could argue it's overdone, I think. Again, it feels very smooth. It doesn't feel overdone. It's so subtle. I mean, it's beautifully crafted, I've got to say. It's a work of art. Over here you've got your fuel tanks. Goes in front of the pilot, of course. And then we've got another one of the side walls. And we've also got, I think, is the early mast. I think that's a Mark I early mast, actually, isn't it, for the radio mast? and the early pitot as well from the wing, twin pitot. But I'm just a bit concerned that they've gone. You know, they've got the double row. It's accurate. It's true. They've got the double row of rivets. It's all there, isn't it? But it just looks a bit OTT at this scale. And this is why I say be very, very careful, because if you go, you know, getting your Flory wash or whatever brand you use, and you go in putting a load of that on it, it's going to look a bit weird and it's going to look a bit overdone, because it will pick up into those areas. Put these back on there. It's going to pick up into those areas and really pop too much, I think. It's a bit of a danger when they've added all that detail. I mean, it's beautiful. I don't want to sound critical. I'm not going to mark it down for this. It's a question of personal taste in a way, but it's amazing that they've been able to create that in such an accurate manner, I think. And then we have the last sprue. Wow! The last sprue. So this is the one where... Oh, I think we've... No, it isn't the last sprue. I think we've had it already. It's the duplicate. Oh, way down at the end. It's the same as the one we just saw a minute ago. It's that one. It's the duplicate, that sprue. It's a separate bag. And it's the same number. It is literally the same sprue as this one. It's got the instrument panel. But let's look at... I think I skipped over the instrument panels a little bit. Let's just have a quick look at that. And also the parts of the cockpit, which I didn't really go into perhaps as much detail as I should have done. We've here got another one of the pilot's seat, and then you've got your surround, which is where I alluded to the fact that you can't expect them to drill out such tiny holes. You'd have to do that yourself because the injection moulding process doesn't really allow it. And then you've got your instrumentation there. And over here, of course, you've got your oxygen bottles and your intakes for your radiators. Yeah, and then so many tiny little things here. All the little parts that go in the cockpit, and the oxygen line, the corrugated oxygen line. Fantastic kit. So I actually opened that bag. I didn't open the last bag, so there's a few bags there I didn't need to open because they are pure duplicated sprue. So don't worry, Neil, I didn't actually miss anything. I almost did that one twice, but I didn't. So, what's the verdict? Well, I think you can probably tell I'm very impressed by this. A kit I had no particular expectation for. I say I had seen it on somebody else's show, some photographs from the press release, and I thought, yeah, I bet it won't look like that. Another Spitfire, yawn, No yawn. That is probably that is one of the most impressive kits of the year. I think it's up there with the Qatari Messerschmitt and Airfix's Jaguar. In my head, they're forming into a top 3 already. I won't say which way around, I'll have to think about that. But that's remarkable. To achieve all that with, what was it, 15 marking options. You've got 3 different options for the cockpit, 3 resin options, so you can just drop one in. You cads! Cheaters and deceivers! Can't you do it yourself? Oh yes, you can do it yourself for this kit, that's the beauty. So you haven't got the option to do it yourself. You've got so many options in this box. £55 sounds absolutely outrageous, but it isn't. That's got to be the nicest 72nd scale Spitfire I've ever seen. And it's got so much adaptability and fun. I think you'll have a tremendous amount of fun building those. It's 10 out of 10, and that was not anticipated by me whatsoever. Remarkable performance. So thank you to Neil from Creative Time Wasting. Fantastic that he let me see that. I'm so pleased to have seen it. When it came, I thought, oh yeah, okay, this is IBG. I've never heard of them, Well, hello. I've had a wake-up call. So we've got IBG, and he's also lent me a Bandai kit. So 2 manufacturers I'm not familiar with. Well, I'll be looking at IBG with fascination from now on, because that is just beautiful quality, brilliant concept, the best instructions on a 76 scale kit I've ever seen. Well, the only other one that rivals it actually was there was that slightly different kettle of fish, the old resin ME163B Comet from Gas Patch. That had amazing instructions too. But for a conventional kit, which it is, just stunning. What a fantastic kit! 10 out of 10 from me. I just see nothing to mark it down, and I cannot justify marking it down anything. Brilliant. Well done, IBG. I'd love to see more of your work in the future. So that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed it. Thought that was interesting. It's certainly an eye-opener, wasn't it? How? Wow! Totally blown me away. In the second half of the year, that's been probably my favourite. Qatari, that was about second half, wasn't it? It's right up there with the finest models. It's going to feature in kits of the year, that is. It's going to feature in kits of the year. So I better take a few photographs, you know, because I've got to give it back to Neil. So, brilliant to have such a good news story. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, a like. Helps the channel a lot. Give me a 10 out of 10 by thumbs up. And don't forget Peter Goes Rogue, my other channel, which has got some quite remarkable and very varied things on it. And some items, as I speak, you're about to see something truly remarkable. I know I was talking last week about house building, and I was being a bit of an NIMBY and complaining about developers, but with very good cause actually. Not just because it affects me, but wow, a really bad idea that's been conceived by a greedy, rapacious developer, and you probably saw that. But perhaps not the most entertaining of videos. I can assure you there won't be any more of those like that. I might do a quick update for 5 minutes or something, but that's not going to be the sort of thing we talk about in the future. It's going to be much more exciting, and I promise you the next one you see I think is going to be incredibly shocking for people, by my standards anyway. I think it's going to be a complete volte farce, a total change of what you expect. It's going to subvert your expectations totally when I reveal a great secret and something private to me, which is going to amaze you, I think. I think you'll enjoy watching about it. So please stay tuned and subscribe to Peter Goes Rogue. It's critical that people do. I've got the Spitfire flight coming up on that channel as well. There's so many wonderful things coming up that you're going to enjoy. And it branches, it takes us off in a new direction, but I think a direction that will have people following in behind, because I think it's going to be their cup of tea, just like the models is. So thank you. Please subscribe to that. And until next time, here on the Modelling channel, thank you very much for watching. Till we see you again, take care, stay well, stay safe. Until next time, thanks a lot, and bye for now.